Hey friends, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm John. I've been job searching not once, but twice in the past 2 years. So trust me when I say I know about the job search struggle. Today, we're going to be talking about the three worst parts of job hunting, but more importantly, three ways to deal with them without losing your freaking mind. Before we get started today, though, I do want to show off my t-shirt. This is a t-shirt that I got from Portola Music Festival here in San Francisco last year. Um, Little trash panda on it. I just thought it was so fun. And so, yeah, one of my favorite shirts that I wanted to share with you guys today. But let's talk about the job search. So the first frustration that I have with the job search is that it's very much like I am applying into the void. I spend hours tweaking my resume, writing well-crafted cover letters, um, you know, sometimes with or without the help of AI, but I submit them and then nothing. No, that's not always true. Oftentimes, I will get a response back confirming that my application has been received, but afterwards, nothing, right? No email, no call from a recruiter or HR, and just no movement in general, just silence. And that silence is absolutely deafening and devastating at the same time. It really messes with my head. I'm sure it messes with yours. And we start wondering if we missed something obvious or if we're just shouting into the void, hoping that someone hears us. So, the way that I deal with applying into the void is I create noise for myself intentionally and not just random noise. Good noise specifically. What I mean by that is I go for a run, I write out my frustrations or document my frustrations in a vlog. I'll grab a meal with friends, lunch or dinner, or just plan a trip or some sort of activity for myself and my wife, and usually our dog, Franklin, too. I intentionally build these experiences into my week because if the only thing that I'm doing is job hunting, it's easy for it to consume everything, um, consume my time, my mood, my self worth, so on and so forth. So I make sure that there are always things to do and that I have other things going on. And it just helps remind me that there's more to life than having a job or applying for a job. The second worst thing about the job search is the constant rejection. Some folks might also put it first, but the reason I have it as second is I'm actually fairly used to rejection. Um, Working in sales, I get told no all the time. No, in fact, can often be the second best answer that you can get, because then once someone tells you no, you can move on. For those of you who haven't had a job in sales, rejection is probably a little bit harder for you and would maybe be the number one worst thing about the job search. But what rejection usually looks like is if you are lucky enough, or if I'm lucky enough to actually get a response from an application, more often than not, it's thanks for your interest. We decided to move forward with other candidates. Thanks for, but no thanks, right? And so after I see that, my reaction is typically like, all right, cool. That's great, let me move on, and then quietly cry a little bit on the inside. um, when you hear that enough, when you hear that, thanks but no thanks, or you're not qualified enough, or we've moved forward with other more qualified candidates, that constant negative narrative chips away at your confidence, even when you know it's not personal, right? And the way I deal with that constant rejection is setting hard boundaries. Um, I really only check email and LinkedIn 2 to 3 times a day, um, or at least that's my hope for myself. Uh, More often than not, though, I do find myself tempted to check it consistently. But what I did was I actually deleted LinkedIn off of my phone, so that I'm not just picking up my phone and going on autopilot, checking LinkedIn, looking for new jobs at all hours of the day. Um, and so having that out of sight helps me keep it out of mind and keep me from spiraling when, it's 10 o'clock, I'm lying in bed trying to wind down, and I just autopilot go onto LinkedIn and see all this doom and gloom and all these jobs that I feel like I should apply for. The second thing that I do for constant rejection is try and gamify it. Um, Getting rejected sucks. It sucks. And so gamifying it sounds silly, but at the same time, every application, every rejection, those I see those as experience points. Um, they don't feel like wins in the moment, but if you reflect on them and learn from them over time, they can help you level up. If you're learning from what's working and you're adjusting your approach, you're still leveling up. And eventually you'll hit that next stage. And so that brings me to the third worst thing about the job search process, and it's the never ending interview process. So you've submitted your application, you've made it through the recruiter screen, you spoke with the hiring manager, you did a take home, then there's a panel interview, then there's a final round, and then they tell you to hurry up and wait. It feels almost like you're getting stood up after a great first date, right? The hiring manager and you really vibed. The panel interview went well, but then you get ghosted and you don't hear from that person again. I don't know about you guys, but if someone ghosted me, I wouldn't just be sitting at home and waiting, right? Hell no. No, we're better than that. Um, we move on. We apply for other jobs and don't put all of our eggs in that one basket. There are plenty of jobs out there. At the end of the day, it's a numbers game. So you got to keep applying and gamifying it. The way that I really deal with the never ending job process, though, is very similar to the first two frustrations that I have. I remind myself that this job search is a part of my life, but it shouldn't become my entire life. If the only thing that I make time for is applying and waiting, then that's all my world becomes. And that's not the world that I want to live in. And if you're watching this, I'm guessing that's not the world that you want to live in either. So I just go out and do stuff. It doesn't have to be these grand adventures, which are nice from time to time. But, the reality of the job search is that there's not a ton of money just lying around, right? But there are tons of things that you can do that are free or low cost. I like to go on a hike. I like to go on runs. I like to try new recipes. I make videos like this one. I fill my time with things that make me feel like a whole person and not just a job seeker. And you should too. Don't put your life on pause for maybe. Go live it. The job search can be exhausting and oftentimes feel like you're just being taken for a ride. but it's important to remember that you have the power to live the life that you want. Just remember to take care of yourself, to set boundaries, and to fill your life with moments that bring you joy, even if it's just the small things. So if you're looking for a job right now, you're not alone. I see you, and we'll get through this together. But for now, thank you for watching my video. Hope you found something useful from it, and I will see you next time. And please like and subscribe if you found this content compelling. Thanks. Bye, friends.